Hello everyone, my name is Samir Sharma, and today we're going to be going over exam number 1 provided by Professor Robert Solis in his CS232 class, Programming Concepts and Methodology 2. Today is January 9th, 2022, the due date of the exam, and the task of the exam is to create a program that calculates the speed of a vehicle in miles per hour based on the user's input of both the vehicle's distance and time in miles and hours respectively. Here are two sample executions Professor Robert Solis gives us. Mine's going to be very similar to these. Before I go over my code that gets us to the task of the exam, I'm going to go over debugging. Debugging is a tool that helps us analyze and fix errors of code. Sometimes I can just look at the code and say, hey, that's where I made the mistake and fix it. But sometimes when we have pages and pages and pages of code, it's a lot harder to do that. So we use debugging to go ahead and analyze those areas a lot easier. So the first thing for debugging, we want to go ahead and create a start breakpoint. We want to have an end breakpoint as well. And then we go to the debug tab. We're going to go over three major commands of debugging. So the first one is step into. Step into executes the next statement in the normal execution path of the program and then pauses execution on the program so that way we can examine the program state. Similar to that, we also have another command called step over. Now, step over is going to be similar, but step into will enter the function calls and execute them line by line, whereas step over will actually execute an entire function without stopping and return control to you after the function has been executed. We also have the last one we're going to go over. It's going to be called step out. Now, step out, unlike the other two, does not just execute the next line of code, but instead it executes all remaining code in the function currently being executed and then returns control to you when the function has returned. So cool, that means all my code is being executed, but what is my code all about? Let's go over that. So we went through this organization that Professor Robert Solis gives us. Here are my libraries. I have global declarations, function prototypes, declarations, user input, calculations, output, and function definitions. So here are the libraries I used. No global declarations. The whole point of this exam is to use the calc speed in double, so that way we can get a speed output that's going to be, could be a decimal if the parameters we use, distance par and time par, are going to be inputted by the user as decimals. They could be whole numbers too, but double assures that, hey, we can input decimals and we can also output a decimal as well. So we declare the two variables here, and then we got the user's input. So, hey, user, enter the distance in miles, and then that basically gets assigned to this variable, distance par, and then enter the time, user, and then that will be assigned to time par. And then basically there's no calculation, but there is calculation in the function. And then the output will say, hey, the vehicle was traveling blank blank miles per hour. I put a little space right here because if I didn't, traveling and the number would be put together without a space and it look kind of funky. Return 0 meant and everything went okay. And then here's the function definition saying, hey, we're going to take the two parameters and we're going to return distance par over time par. And the reason we do that is because speed is going to be distance over time. So let's go ahead and run this. Enter the distance. So maybe we went 50.23 miles, and then maybe it took us maybe 2.3 hours to travel that far. So the vehicle was traveling at 21.8391 miles per hour. Depending on what the user inputs, the speed will be different. We're going to enter to continue and then another key to close it. So that's going to be all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great one.